Okay guys, I'm going to take you through the second part of the My Maths Online a lesson which we had started early last week. So following from section 4 onwards, this is the solving linear equations. Now you've learnt how to solve simple linear equations. We do not use times by sign or the multiplication sign in algebra. They look too much like our letter X. We always put the number first. You know that we use the letter X. It's called a variable to represent a number that we're thinking of, a number that we don't know. When solving equations, we aim to show the working out in stages. We've been through that. We've done single stage or one step and two step equations, which are simple. We're going to have a look at something a little bit more complex. So now it's time to move on to more tricky questions. I'm thinking of a number, multiplying it by 6 and adding 7. I get the same answer if I multiply that number by 4 and add 19. So first stage, putting it into algebra, the first statement, multiplying by 6 and adding 7, looks like that expression there, 6x plus 7. Now that, I am told, is the same as, which is like using an equal sign, the statement multiplying that number by 4 and adding 19, which as an expression looks like 4x plus 19. Now what we have in blue there is an equation. It's got numbers, letters, operations, and an equal sign. And we're going to use that letter x to represent the number that we're thinking of. Trouble is, now it's on both sides of the equal sign and we haven't had to deal with those yet. So let's have a look what we do as a new first step. When we have equations with x's on both sides, we have a new first step to do. So let's have a look at that. It does look a little scary, but what we're going to do is we're going to think about it as a set of scales again like we did before. So there's x's appearing on both sides. It's not that difficult. We're simply going to have a new first step. Once we've done that, it will look like an equation that that we've used to doing. So here we are. Here's that equation. It's on a set of scales. And we don't like having x's on both sides, so we need to get rid of the 4x. The rule is you get rid of the least number of x's, whichever side it's on. On the left hand side here we have 6 x's, and on the right hand side we have 4 x's. 4 x's is less than 6 x's, so that's the one we're going to get rid of. And here it says click and drag the 4x to get rid of it. So I'm just going to grab it and throw it away. Oops. I've made the left hand side heavier because I took something off the right hand side. So the equation is now unbalanced. We're going to have to balance it up again. So remember, the rule is whatever you do to one side you do to the other. So we must take away the same amount from the other side of the equation. In this case it's 4x. So let's have a look at another way of writing 6x. We can write that as 4x's and another 2x's. So now I can take that 4x, click and drag it away, and boom, we've got rid of 4x's on both sides. So the 4x's disappear from the side, leaving me with no x's on that side at all, just a number, and a leftover amount of x's on this side. Oh, now we have an equation which is easier to solve. We know how to do that. We're going to take the 7 off both sides, and then to get rid of the 2 we will divide by 2. Here's the last problem again solved in a more formal way. So we're going to look at the setting out of it. So there's our equation. We take 4x from both sides. Now they haven't actually shown the working, but you can imagine underneath the 4x we've subtracted it, and underneath the 6x we've also subtracted 4x. Right, so that gets us to this black part of the equation now. And now we know how to work from that. So we've taken 7 from both sides. Once again, they're not showing the working. This is called the swap side, swap sign method. I would want to see probably a -7 underneath here and a -7 underneath here. Then the next step, of course, is to divide by 2. So I probably want to see divide by 2 underneath here and divide by 2 underneath here, and that leaves me with 6. So that's pretty easy. The first step, once again, was just get rid of the least number of x's if you have both x's on both sides of the equation. It does make sense to take your x value, which is 6, and see if it works. That was the number I was thinking of. So first of all, I was told that the number I was thinking of was multiplied by 6 and 7 was added. So if the number I thought of was 6, my answer would be 47. And I supposedly got exactly the same thing if I took the same number, multiplied it by 4 and added 19. Yep, that's 43 as well, so I can check that. I'm getting near the end now. Now, we're going to try more equations until you're happy with the working out. So you can click in at this step and practice some for yourself while you're in class. Always start by taking away the smallest number of x's from both sides. So there we are. There's the working. They're showing the working, but of course we would put that underneath. I'd put this minus 4x underneath that 4x, and I'd put that minus 4x underneath the 7x. They appear on both sides of the equation. Just looks a little tidier. So the 7x minus the 4x will give me 3x. I've still got the plus 10. 4x minus 4x, nothing. I've still got the 19 here. Yep. Once again, they put the working above, I put it below, so put the minus 10 underneath the plus 10, put the minus 10 underneath the 19. So we get 3x, the 10 minus 10, that makes that disappear. 19 minus 10 is 9, and then we know to divide by 3, and 3 is the answer. When you come into this part to practice for yourself, you can just keep clicking on the questions until you're happy that you understand what's going on. Let's go to section 8. Up till now, we've only been using positive whole numbers. So this is a little bit trickier because I now have to think about the fact that the x on this side has a minus sign in front of it. So I have to think, well, how do I get rid of minus 2x is certainly lower than 8x. So what I would do to get rid of the minus 2x, add 2x to both sides, and then we just work through the problem as we normally would. Okay, I'm going to get you to have a go at some of these. Click on the question. It's not likely that you'll get questions that will have a minus amount of x's on one side of the equation, but you know how to do it now, and you can actually complete the online homework task now.